sorry about our next presentation on the Finland TalentMatch X IT and Tech. Just a quick reminder, our event follows the safer space principles. So let's discuss in a manner that is respectful and inclusive. If you need help at any point, our moderator is here to help you, so please do ask. We invite every one of you to share questions on the chat, and the most upvoted questions will be answered at the end of this session. So our next speakers come from Tech, a Finnish trade union of university-educated engineers, architects, and scientists. Our speakers, Tiina-Henri Piapaud and Björn Wiemers, will share how trade unions have shaped the Finnish working life and what they can offer to you as international talents. A huge thank you to Tiina and Björn for joining us today. And without further ado, the stage is yours. Welcome.
Thank you, and welcome everybody to our presentation about engineering your career in technology. And our presentation is mostly about what are the labor unions doing in Finland and what's their role. And this is because we think that there are different kind of stereotypes or different kind of models how labor unions work in different countries, and we would like to show you how it's in Finland. And we think also that the labor unions are a really important part in Finland when we are talking about international people in our country. And that's also one reason why we wanted to make this kind of a presentation for you. Okay, I changed the slides. Oh yeah, okay. About Finland, it's said that it's a contractual society and based on agreeing. We like to reach consensus when agreeing about things, and of course there are different kind of groups which have different kind of intentions, and it's always about reaching a consensus between these groups, and this works also in the working life. The consensus society in Finland, it has a rather long history. It started, I would say, in the 1930s, but actually during the Second World War, it really started to develop. Before the World War II, the employers didn't want to negotiate with workers too much. But then it said that during the World War, Finland was fighting against the Soviet Union, and we had the so-called Winter War. It was from December 1939 to 1940 in the January, and we had a difficult situation for the whole country, and it said that this difficult situation put the employers and the employees, the workers, both in the same boat. And that's why it's called the January engagement, when the employers during the Winter War said that actually we could not try to negotiate and with also with the employees and the workers. So it's called the January engagement. It's probably not the only reason, but what it's said, it's been a big thing that we were in the same boat as a whole country, and that we have tried to resolve problems and different kind of thoughts through agreements. It has also brought us a great deal of stability. One of our shop stewards said that this system we have in Finland, it's an excellent way to argue, and I think that's a really nice comment about it. It's like arguing about different kind of opinions and different kind of targets in a civilized manner, if you could say that so. It's definitely a fundamental part of the society. We have labor market organizations for employees and employers both, and we play a central role in shaping the working life in Finland, and the unionizing among employees and employers is both high. I would say it's among employees, maybe 70% of the work-aged people in Finland have some kind of membership in a union, and the employers might even be higher unionized. So it's really a common way that people belong to a union here. And what unions do really a lot is collective agreements. I will tell you a little bit more about them later. But the collective agreements, they define most of the employment terms. Of course, we have also legislation, but the collective agreements are really important in that. And now I just noticed that I didn't even introduce myself. So I'm Björn Wiemers, and I come from tech, but I mostly do my work for negotiation association YTN, where I'm responsible for the IT service sector, and I'm one of the negotiators of the collective agreements in this IT service sector also. So collective agreements are definitely something I'm really keen to talk about. But it's not only about collective agreements, it's also about the legislation and what Finland will do. So it's a common way to make things done is that, for example, if the government has some intentions to change the legislation, the laws which describe the working life, they will consult the unions and employer groups if they have plans to change the legislation. And that's called tripartite negotiations, when there's the government, and then there's the employers, and then the employees. So there are like three different groups which in tripartite negotiations try to find a common ground and like a consensus about things. Of course, employers have some own thoughts about legislation, how they should be, and of course, when we present the employees, we have, of course, our intentions, and the government also. So we have noticed that if all these three important parties here in this kind of context speak together, then they will definitely, after a while at least, find a consensus. And this picture here is actually from one of our negotiations. This was, I want to check, it's from the year 2020. In February, we reached the negotiation result for a new collective agreement for the IT service sector. And in the picture on the right is our chief negotiator Minno, and the employer's chief negotiator is here Jarkko on the left, and they shake hands when we found the resolution for the negotiations. So it's agreeing totally. A little bit about where the terms of employment, where are they formed, where they come from. When we start from the uppermost part, the ILO, the International Labour Organization, it's the part of the United Nations. It has very broad terms, but when we go lower in this slide, where you can see the text at the bottom, the work contract test, that's where the employee is the worker, and there's a lot of between that, and it's like when you go from the global level to the employee level in this diagram here. So first we have the ILO Convention and protocols. They are decided in the United Nations. Then we come closer to Finland, but first we come to Europe. We have the European Union directives, and they are decided in the EU Parliament. by the members of the parliament. And then we come to the national level, to Finland. We have the Finnish legislation. Of course, the working life-based legislation is the most important in this context, and they come from the Finnish parliament, and of course the members of the parliament, which are then making the votings, for example, if some law is going through the parliament or not. But then we come to the unions level. We have the collective agreements, and these are negotiated between the labor unions and the employee associations. So, for example, the picture I showed you just before, where Minna and Jarkko were shaking hands, Minna is representing the employees, our YTN and Tietoala, which are the negotiators for this collective agreement, and Jarkko Ruohoniemi, the chief negotiator from Teknologiateollisuus, the technology employers of Finland. And so it's making deals between unions or associations. And we also make collective agreements with companies, especially now in the IT service sector. We have made like 20 different ones with 20 different companies, and they are done between the company and us, as the unions. Then we have local agreements, which are usually based on legislation or maybe on a collective agreement, and they are done by a staff representative. It might be a shop steward usually, which is a person which is chosen to represent the employees in the company. And then, of course, you have your work contract, which you do with your employer together. And usually the terms get more specific and better when coming closer to the employee. And the unions are involved in all these levels in a way or another. The collective agreements have been, I would say them as a win-win product. They are profitable for the employees and also the employers. That's the reason why we do them and why also the employers want to do them. The labor laws set the baseline for worker rights, but in Finland they are rather broad. There are no like specific laws for example, chemistry industry or the IT service sector, but they are like universally usable for all kind of industries, but they are not too specific. And for that reason, the unions negotiate collective agreements for sector-specific improvements, and usually they add something more specific or give better terms of employment. I show you a couple of examples, a couple of slides further. And these collective agreements are usually made for 1 to 3 years, so they are fixed agreements and cover most industries. And we have around 300 collective agreements in Finland to ensure stability and predictability also. And the negotiations enhance working conditions and also reduce conflicts. Here's an example. These are from the IT service sector collective agreement compared to the legislation in Finland, which is all the same for every company, but the changes are usually made in the collective agreement if you want to have some different terms for a different kind of sector of industry. So, for example, salary increases, the legislation says nothing about them, that companies should raise the employees' salaries, but the collective agreement, we usually make a deal with the employers that in this sector, the salary should be raised this much this year and the next year maybe this much, depending how long the collective agreement is valid. Holiday bonus is something we pay in Finland. If you have a holiday, you usually get some holiday bonus also. The legislation says nothing about it, but it's about the collective agreement where they come from. Also, paid leave to take care of your ill child. The collective agreement gives you the possibility, legislation not. Paid sick leave, the legislation gives you maximum 9 days paid sick leave, but in the collective agreements we have managed to get even 3 months paid sick leave, depending how long you have been working for the company. Paid family leave, this has been a big thing in Finland. There had been big changes in the legislation also concerning the family leaves, and it was before that the father didn't get so much paid family leave compared to the mother, but now also the father gets pretty long parental or paid family leave. But the legislation says nothing that the family leave should be paid, but the collective agreements give you the possibility to get also part of the family leave paid. Compensation if you travel outside office hours, that also comes to from the collective agreement. Compensation of travel expenses also, and they also give the possibility to agree locally. This is often really important for the employers, that they want to agree about some things that they are interested in, to make some adjustments. So this collective agreements also give you much more possibilities to make local company specific agreements about, for example, the working hours or something like that. I said before that the collective agreements also give us stability and predictability also. This is a statistics from the Statistics Finland. It's an official actor in Finland, which gathers all kind of statistics about people, how much bread they eat every year and so on. But there are also statistics about industrial actions, I would say strikes, known also as strikes. And the statistics here begin in the year 1970, and the newest ones are from the last year, 2024. And in the 70s, you can see there were really a lot of strikes. My birth year, 1976, was the peak year, and in that year only there were 3,282 industrial actions, so strikes. And that's, I would say, a lot. It was almost like, I would say, 8 or 9 strikes every day. So I once went to the national newspapers and the archive and checked the news from the 70s, and there were like announcements in the newspapers almost every day. Now this industrial sector is going to strike, and now these workers are striking. So there were really a lot of strikes. And when we came to the 90s, the curve almost flattened. So why was the situation so, and what happened? So in the 70s, the situation was so that it was easy to get more salary by making small local strikes. But also one big reason for these strikes were that the employers didn't want to negotiate with the workers. But that changed, and after the beginning of the 90s, the curve is almost flat. And now I would say we have maybe 50 to 100 industrial actions strikes per year in whole country, and this is because of negotiations. The small peak in the 2005, it's about, just wait a minute, I have to check the English term. In the year 2005, the employers in the forest industries reclaimed the lockout, which means that the employer prevents the employees of working. So they say, no, you don't have to work, don't come to workplace, but we won't pay you a salary either. So it's like an industrial action done by the employers. So I would say that the workers haven't been striking too much in Finland after we have started really to make negotiations. So this is what shows that the agreement and unions really bring the stability and predictability also to the country. One thing what we also do a lot is that we negotiate salary increases, for salary increases. And this is an example of the salary increases we have been negotiating from, and this statistics, it's from the year 2018, and there's been, I can't now see, I have to check this one. Yeah. In this example, there's an example of a salary of 4,400 euros per month. And then there are the salary increases which come from the collective agreements. And you can see from what year how many percentage you have got for the salary. So without any kind of an salary increasement, you would be still having the same salary as before. Of course, you can negotiate with your employer by yourself to get the salary increase, but everybody is not that lucky that it will be a succeeding negotiation. So that's a big reason for us that we want to negotiate about the salary increases, that we want that everybody's purchasing power still stays during the years. The inflation usually eats your purchasing power, and we are trying to how you say, overcome that kind of a problem by by negotiating salary increases. So just by the increases coming from collective agreements, when you compare the year 2024 salary to the 2017 salary, there's a difference in between these over 8,000 euros per year. You get more because of that. So I would say that's nice. Yeah, I think I hand the presentation now to my colleague Tiina.
Hello all, thank you for joining us today. I'm Tiina and I work also for tech as a professional, but I'm also very much involved in this negotiation work that Björn was talking about. So I think that in general, most of you that are online are people that would like to work in Finland. And I think the reason you have came here or would like to come to Finland is not because of our weather or our food or even the location in the border of the Europe. I think there are different kind of reasons, and I have felt personally this quite concrete because after my graduation I moved to France, and I was really shocked because of the French working life. You needed to be in the office at 9 and you were not allowed to leave before 6 o'clock. You could have your 2 hours break, but if you just eat in 20 minutes, you still need to stay there until 6 o'clock. And this was, and the mothers are staying home with the babies like for 2 months. And then when the baby gets 2 months old, they go to practice with the baby in the nursery or in the kindergarten, and it was quite shocking for me. And then I very strongly felt that I want to leave and work in Finland because of the work-life balance. And basically, I felt that often French people were only living during the weekends and during the holidays. They were calling their life as a métro boulot dodo, like you go to metro to work and to sleep. And this was something that I was not get used to in Finland. So I wanted to come back to Finland, and I also forced my French back then boyfriend and current husband to come to live and work in Finland. I think the big thing in Finland, we have time, resources, and energy for the life beyond work also. Just spending time with family and friends and having hobbies or whatever kind of passions you have. Like myself, I'm playing saxophone and doing some gigs with the orchestra. I think this kind of life is not possible in every countries because work might eat all your time. In some countries, it's not even enough to have 1 8-hour per day job. Like we have heard that in USA, for example, many people have 2 or even 3 jobs at the same time to survive, to be able to pay their rent and food. And I think the labor union movement is playing a really crucial role in this, that we have such a quite happy life in Finland, and I would say that they are also playing an important role. That, as you know, Finland has been chosen as one of the actually the happiest country in the world for quite many years in a row. It's not really because of the weather or the food or our location or our architecture or anything. There is something else. As Björn already said, so Finns are well organized. We used to be better organized. By being organized, I said it means that we are members of trade unions. Even if the trade union membership is completely optional, more than half of the people want to be members. And actually, this might be surprising for many of you who come from not from North Europe, that actually the higher education you have, the more likely you are going to belong to a union in Finland. I think it's because the higher educated people are more aware of what are the benefits of being part of the union. And as Björn also said before, employers are also organized actually quite well. So it's not only the employees that are organized. So the unions in Finland are the only party that is negotiating the collective agreements, meaning the work conditions, and providing support in local agreements. So especially in the news, they've been talking a lot that there should be more and more local agreements, meaning the work conditions are also agreed locally. And this is what is happening, especially in the IT service sector. But we as unions are helping. We might be also there negotiating company-specific collective agreements, like my colleague Björn has been there a lot, and we are helping the employee representatives, meaning the shop stewards, and also we are providing the legal support, because when you are doing this agreement with the employees also have their lawyers, and the lawyer is not like some kind of objective party. They have their sides, and that's why also the employer side needs to have their own lawyers. So they come from the unions. Of course, shop steward doesn't need to use their own money to hire a lawyer. Unions are the only party that is influencing the legislation with regard to the employees' rights and interests. Parties come and parties go, I mean the political parties. But we are all the time there and try to tell what is the best for the employer side. No, I'm sorry, I'm mixing a bit this employer and employee words. Yeah, I mean they are negotiating for the employees. And we also offer comprehensive services and benefits to support employees. And we can only continue doing this if we have members. And the more members we have, the more power we have for negotiation, for influencing, and to offer services. And I need to talk about this issue, ITK. ITK is an unemployment fund that has been established by employers and entrepreneurs that were not happy that their family members were part of the unions that were trying to negotiate better work conditions and better salaries for employees. So they wanted to have this YTK unemployment fund that would have nothing to do trying to make it better for employees. And so when you go on the ITK website, you see that they have different kind of services and benefits that they are offering. But I just want to remind that it is not a union. It's It is an association, but that is established by employers, and the more members there are in YTK, the less members there will be in the unions. And the less members there will be in the unions, the weaker we will become. So it's not guaranteed that the situation and this happy working life continues in Finland if we don't have enough union members in the future. I'm really sorry that YTN and YTK sounds the same. And Björn was talking that he works for YTN, and YTN is the negotiation organization of Akava unions. So basically, YTN is the one that is we as an Akava union employees work together for better work conditions for our members. And YTK is like the opposite thing, and it has nothing to do with the YTN. YTK is this kind of, it's an unemployment fund that is offering certain services. Björn was already telling about this, what comes from the collective agreements and what comes from the legislations. And here is still, I'm still repeating what comes from the collective agreements. I don't know if you found this surprising, but actually even really many Finns take this for so self-evidence that they think that these are written in the law and this will carry on forever, no matter what the unions are doing. But no, they don't carry on. They only continue for the future if we manage to negotiate them in the collective agreements. And actually, every time at the beginning of the negotiations, employer side is trying to weaken all of these. And then we try to negotiate to keep them and even try to get some more. The latest success was that we managed to negotiate the more equal parental leaves. Actually, we shouldn't talk about paternity leave anymore, but we talk about should fix this slide, because nowadays we talk about the person that has given the birth and then about the other parent. So I need to remember to fix this. We don't talk about maternity and paternity leave anymore. And we managed to negotiate that the other parent that hasn't given the birth can have longer paid leave when they have the baby. Then tech and also the other unions are offering many benefits to you and services. So there are these employment advice and legal services, salary statistics. It's a really respected and needed service. I was actually just today listening the latest student research that we do in tech, and we found out that those people that replied to our survey were able to negotiate better salaries even as students when they were using our salary statistics. I'm working also as a salary advisor, and we have very, very good statistics for people who have done master's degree in engineering. It's like thousands and thousands of our members from different positions are replying to our surveys, and that's the way we find out what are the different kind of salary levels in different positions and with a certain kind of experience. And I think this information doesn't exist in anywhere else. And the same for the engineers who have bachelor degree, it's the engineers union, or if you have master in business, it's the economic union. That like this kind of information can't be found anywhere else, and it can really make a difference to your salary, that you know what to ask for, that you don't ask too much, but you ask enough. and then you can also perform better when there's when you are applying for a certain kind of job. Because in Finland, unfortunately, the employers don't usually say how much they are willing to pay for a certain job, and they ask the applicants to ask for a certain salary, like what is your salary wish. You even need to write it in your application. And we are also offering webinars, events, even rental cottages, and of course the unemployment insurance. So the time is flying, I can see. But just wanted to say fast that what we do there is we do lots of things that is always not so visible, like under the surface. And what is visible is just a small part of things that we are doing. Can you join tech? In Akava unions, meaning that the high educated unions, we organize based on your education. So if you have master's degree in engineering or architect or STEM fields from a university in Finland or from abroad and you currently live in Finland, you can join tech. Otherwise, I'm recommending our neighbor unions. We are actually doing this YTN negotiation job together, and we are even placed pretty much in the same building. There is economist for the master's degree in business, tradenomit if you have the business degree, bachelor degree, and if you have a bachelor degree in engineering, then it's Insinööriliitto. If you are doing have some other degree, you can, for example, or no degree at all, you can, for example, join this asia.fi. You can find more information. So that was the end of our presentation. I just managed to complete it before the time was out.
I also ate your time.
No, it's...
Thank you, Tiina and Björn. I think this was a wonderful deep dive on how trade unions operate in Finland and what they can offer for international talents. And we have a few questions. So, is it so that those who get grants as work income, such as researchers, cannot apply for trade unions?
Definitely, they can also apply for the membership of a union. In Finland, the unions we represent, they are based mostly on the education you have. And actually, for example, if you have a master degree, you can be a member of tech, but as a master degree in technology, you can, for example, be also a CEO. So we have actually also members who are CEOs. So I would say definitely as a researcher, you can apply for the membership of a union.
Yeah.
And you should.
Something the employers are not allowed to, well, they can ask if you are part of a union, but it is like a personal data whether you are a member or not. So you should never be forced to tell whether you are a member or not. So it's like a bit same kind of personal information as your health information. So definitely nobody should be able to tell you from outside the union that you are not allowed to be a union member.
Precisely. Then there is another practical question. So how much of a curtailment period do you have in case I get laid off from a visa-sponsored job in Finland?
No, I have to say, I didn't maybe hear the start of the question or didn't understand it.
It was about the curtailment period. So how much of a curtailment period do I have in case I get laid off from a visa-sponsored job?
So does it mean that will you get paid layoff time, or is this like about an unemployment fund?
Apparently, yes.
Yeah, if the unions usually have also an unemployment fund, that's the reason why the employer started the YTK Tiina was telling about, to tease people to be a member of just an unemployment fund, telling that you don't need a union. Our job is to try to prevent people to be forced to use an unemployment fund, which is, in my opinion, much more beneficial than be just getting laid off. But if you are a member of an unemployment fund, you can get unemployment money, and it depends how much you have earned before. And I would say roughly, if you have earned, for example, 5,000 euros per month before, and you get unemployed, your unemployment fund would pay you, I would say, like 3,000 euros. But it depends a lot on the situation.
Yeah, I think it's for the specific cases. We are not the expert with this visa permit and this kind of stuff, so it's maybe better to ask from the unemployment fund. Like if you are, for example, a tech member, you will belong to Koko unemployment fund, and they give also direct advice for our members.
Yeah, yes. And they have also a really good website where also in English.
Good. I think we still have many questions. You have managed to spark a really good discussion, and I see that this topic is very interesting to our audience. But unfortunately, this is our time today, even though I could have continued for much longer with you. But a huge thank you, Tiina and Björn. And for our audience members, please do make sure to follow Tech on socials. They have wonderful practical content, especially on LinkedIn. But for now, it's our time to say thank you to Tiina and Björn, and also for our audience for joining us to this session. So see you in the
Thank you. Bye-bye.
upcoming sessions, and bye-bye.